All right, guys, let's recap what we saw over the weekend. UFC 307. Some wild stuff, some crazy judging. Oh my God. And some insane implications for what is going to be happening next, both in the light heavyweight division and other things as well. Let's start off with the main event. Alex Pereira defeats Khalil Rountree, but this is the most difficult fight he's had at light heavyweight from the looks of it. Khalil Rountree, man, he has gained a new fan. Everybody thought that he was going to get walked through by Alex Pereira, but he put up one hell of a fight, even hitting him with some big shots where Alex had to regroup. It was fantastic. And just, the warrior in him, right? Going out on his shield, the great post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, like, the guy, I hope he's around for a long time, and I really hope he becomes champion one day, because I definitely think he can hang with the best guys in that division. By the way, did you guys see that idiot Jamal Hill? Like, just after what was a spectacular performance from Khalil Rountree and Alex Pereira, just in the crowd, like, as if it was boring, like he could have done any better. We've seen your performance, Jamal, at UFC 300. And I know you've got your bullshit excuse like, oh, it wasn't a fair reset because he gave me a whatever. But you were the one who hit him first. Right? So don't give me that. You couldn't have done any better. If anything, I want Jamal Hill and Khalil Rountree to fight next so that he can whoop your ass. Like, honestly. So, yeah, new fan, Khalil Rountree, goes out on his shield, super respectful, just... nothing but class. After it, he tweets, oh, you made me a better person, a better fighter. Like, that is the epitome of someone who's, like, got the championship mindset, the championship attitude, a student of the game. He just ran into someone who is better, right? And that's the reality. Alex Pereira is just such a phenomenal striker that anybody who stands and bangs with him is in for a tough night, right? Which, like, that's everybody he's fought. So, Alex Pereira, third title defense. Right now he's starting to enter into that conversation. As I made a video last week that I think, John Jones is not the light heavyweight GOAT because of his cheating, right? But if you want to have that conversation, Alex Pereira certainly has done a lot in a short period of time. And we could get to a point where we're having that conversation, right? I mean, Alex is 37, super active. He did say he's going to take a little bit of time off because of injuries and sickness and all this other kind of stuff, which, like, totally, he deserves it. He defended his belt 3 times this year. And let's not forget, he won the belt at UFC 295 in November of 2024. So within the span of 12 months, 4 fights at light heavyweight, right? Very few fighters do that. So... first of all, like, if he wants to take a break, absolutely take a break. 100% deserved. But I think a break, we're talking maybe he's going to take 4 months off instead of 2, right? Or 3. I think we're going to see him back fairly quickly, which will probably actually make his next title defense happen. So, and this is the question, like, who's next, right? Everybody, and Dana's even said this, that it's Magomed Ankalaev if he puts on a good performance at UFC 308. He's fighting Rakic there. He should win that, right? I think but the question is how, right? If he just has this boring decision where he takes him down and holds him down and doesn't do a whole lot with it, I think Dana's going to look to somebody else, right? But if he gets a KO or if he gets a finish, I think 100% that fight is going to happen. Now, the question is, will it be next, right? Because before Alex tweeted and said, like, hey, I need a little bit of time, he has said that he has been super active, right? So if he's back within the next 4 months, right, if he wants to turn around and fight fairly quickly, that doesn't leave a lot of time for Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev, he's fighting UFC 308, right? And either the fight is going to happen before Ramadan, which is in March of 2025, or it's going to happen after because he won't fight during Ramadan, right? So, it'll either be we're talking February at the earliest, right? But probably later than that. Now, if it's a situation where, like, okay, Alex wants to defend his belt again, around that March time, and Magomed won't fight during Ramadan, now the UFC is going to have to look to somebody else. And really, I think the only person right now who can raise his hand and say, hey, I'll fight him, and it makes any kind of sense, would be Jan Blachowicz, right? Because that was the only split decision, right? So he can raise his hand and say, hey, I won that fight, the judges got it wrong, let's settle this, right? And if that were the case, then there could be another defense there for Pereira, and then maybe Magomed fights in June or October, whatever, next year. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is the situation. But if it's one of these things where Alex is like, you know what, I need a good 6 months to recover and rest and do all this stuff, then maybe you get it sometime in April or May of 2025, and then you get that, you get Magomed Ankalaev fighting Alex. And this is really the only question that's left, in my opinion. Like, there's kind of three guys right now at light heavyweight who there are questions, right? Magomed Ankalaev, to me, is his biggest test because of the grappling, right? Striking, it's 50-50. Magomed has good striking, right? But is it on Alex Pereira's level? Probably not, right? Jan Blachowicz, I don't see him beating Pereira. But again, he can raise his hand and say, hey, listen, I won that fight, And then the only other guy at light heavyweight who to me is interesting is Carlos Ulberg. I don't think, Ulberg needs a couple more ranked wins, in my opinion, to be even be in the conversation. But he's another guy who, like, to me, that's an interesting fight. Everybody else, it's kind of like, you ain't getting the job done, right? So that's the situation for me. That was my reaction. Alex Pereira, what a fantastic champion. Like, clearly fans have just love this guy because he's saved 3 UFC cards, really. And, Khalil Rountree, I bet you he's gained a ton of new fans. Dude went out on a shield. He was getting beat up in the 4th round and still managed to keep fighting. Really just fantastic. Now, a couple other things I wanted to touch on. The judging was insane. Pena versus Raquel Pennington. First of all, didn't really care about that fight too much. I think Raquel Pennington is super boring. So honestly, I think Pena is actually a better person to be champion. Honestly, like, when she won the belt, I forgot that she was even champion. That's how, like, uninteresting she is as a fighter. But I thought she won that fight. It was really close, right? The 2 rounds where Pena had the back, she clearly won. There was the round where she got rocked by Pennington. She clearly lost that round. And then there were 2 rounds. I thought the 3rd one Pennington pretty clearly won. But I think it might have been the 1st round. That was very close. And you could give that either way. So, I mean, I think best case scenario, you could have it 3-2 for Pennington. But worst case scenario, you could have it 4-1 for Pena, really. Which, like, that would have been insane, but there are arguments there, you know what I mean? But I think Pena is definitely a more, I don't want to say compelling, right? But it's like at least she'll talk shit. At least she'll, get people interested. At least she's interesting, right? So for the women's division, like, at least she'll probably draw some eyeballs and make the division a little bit more exciting. And on top of which, like, she's probably fighting Kayla Harrison next. So Kayla Harrison will probably ragdoll her. But you never know, right? You never know. What's her name? Vienna, who fought her. Like, she gave her a run there. Like, when she couldn't take her down, Kayla Harrison was getting kind of pieced up on the feet, right? So if Pena can stop that takedown, like, it could be a long night for Kayla Harrison. It could be a real big test. Couple other things. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Holland, it sucks that he got injured the way he did. Jose Aldo versus Bautista. What a boring style from Bautista. I thought Aldo won that fight. Judges got it wrong, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, another loss for Aldo. Probably not going to see a championship anytime soon. Then the only other thing I wanted to kind of mention was the featured prelim, which was Wonder Boy versus Buckley. And Wonder Boy was winning that fight. It looked like he won all 3 rounds. And isn't this the story of Wonder Boy's career, right? Where he is basically winning until he isn't. I believe it was a similar story with Anthony Pettis and a similar story when he fought Woodley, where he was winning both of those fights and he got caught, right? And that seems to happen to him fairly regularly. Now the question is, should he retire, right? He's now 41 years old. The commentators were saying that he looks the same as he did 10 years ago, but I don't know, man. I don't think he does. I really don't. I think he looks just a little bit slower, a little bit less dynamic. He looks just a little bit and it's not super noticeable, right? Like Tony 5 years ago compared to Tony today, right? Two different, like Tony looks completely lost in the octagon, right? Wonder Boy looks good. He just doesn't look as good. You know what I mean? Like to me, the performance that really to me, they're different, right? But when he beat the crap out of Jeff Neal in 2020, like that guy versus today, I just feel they're 2 different animals. You know what I mean? And he beat it. He won the striking match against Kevin Holland since then, right? But it was like Kevin Holland just did that for the fans. You know what I mean? Like he at one point he had Wonder Boy on his back and let him back up because he's like, okay, well the fans want a striking match. I promised them a striking match. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of where I'm at with Wonder Boy. Like I don't necessarily want to see him retire, but at the same time, it's just your chin doesn't get any stronger as time goes on, and he does look a little bit slower, and on top of which there's that huge grappling hole in his game. So, yeah, I think it's time to have that conversation with Wonder Boy, which it sucks, right? Because like he's great. I'm a karate guy, right? That was the first martial art I ever did. I'm always rooting for the karate styles, right? But it just maybe have him fight Michael Venom Page because they're not too far off. I think Venom Page is like 37 and Wonder Boy's 41. But Wonder Boy said that would be a really boring fight because they're both kind of counter strikers. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know if he's got what it takes to hang with this young crowd anymore. Like super skilled, of course, super dangerous, but it's just that snappiness is not there. I don't know. That's just my observation. What do you guys think? Anyway, this is my recap. To me, that's what happened. That was important. And like I said, I think they got to do something about the judging situation, right? Like, let's get some former MMA fighters, some former UFC fighters, get them licensed to be judges, right? Because this is insanity. How so many people's lives and careers are on the line. And it's, there are situations where it's completely clear. Everybody watching thinks it's one way and the judges just screw it up, right? So, yeah, we got to do something about that. Anyway, like I said, if you wouldn't mind, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps with the algorithm, helps grow the channel. I want to thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you next time.